Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is Thursday, and yes, it is Lunch and Learn to Advance Your Career. Ask your questions. It's Thursday. This is what we do, and I'm so glad for all of you who join us today. I want to encourage you, put your questions, your comments, anything you want in the chat. I'll give you a couple of seconds, let some people come on in here. I'm so excited because I have a guest today that is going to be so fantastic. You're going to get some practical tips on what you can do to get that visibility on LinkedIn. Brand yourself if you're an executive, or you don't have to be an executive to brand yourself, right? And take control and advance your career. So this is what we're talking about today. I am Kim. Welcome. If you've never been here on my LinkedIn Live before, I am here every Thursday at 12 noon. I work with women who need to find their voice, corporate women who need to find their voice so that they can advance their career. You know who you are, you corporate women who are the high performers. You sit at your desk, you're chugging out the work, and you're still undervalued, overlooked, outpaced by your colleagues simply because you have not quite found a way to use your voice to get that visibility and the advancement and opportunities that you deserve. So that's what I do. And I want to introduce my guest today, Miss, oh my God, she's so awesome, Carol Kamara. She is an author. She is the author of, oh my God, the name of the book just escaped me. She's the she's the author of
LinkedIn for the Savvy
LinkedIn for the
Executive.
Savvy Executive. LinkedIn for the Savvy
Yes,
Executive. And I mean,
available in the second edition.
listen, the book title really does say it all. I think it's such a great book title because when you see it, you know exactly what you're going to get. And we have the author here live and in person to give you some really good, valuable information on implementable tips that you can apply today to begin to increase your visibility, to increase your branding. If you're, it does not matter. You don't have to be an executive to have personal branding that is strong in the workplace. I work with lots of clients, and that the problem is the personal branding. And of course, that does coincide with your voice, but personal branding is so important so that people know what they can expect from you. And so we're going to talk about that today. And I want to officially welcome Ms. Carol Kamara. Carol, thank you so much for joining me today.
I am delighted. Thank you so much, Kim. It's great to be here with you and to provide some of my insights.
She coaches high-level executives to, create and I guess bring that branding to the fore that they have in their workplace setting to LinkedIn, right? So you might be really, really strong in your organization. People may know you there, but are you strong when people glance at your LinkedIn profile? And this is what she brings to the table. And so today, Carol, I want you to just kind of start out with the issue, the problem that we sometimes see with these high level executives. I mean, they have so much to offer, but there's a gap.
Often, often, often. So when someone has wonderful presence in person, it makes sense for them to have wonderful presence online. But in fact, many, many people miss that. And that's because perhaps they're older and have always just thought that their resume and their business card and their stature in the community was enough. But people are making first impressions of us all the time on LinkedIn. And their reach could be so much better for themselves and their business if they were well branded on LinkedIn. So I wanted to just share with you some really fast tips, 3 really fast things that you can do. When you and I meet in person, social media research tells us that we have only 7 seconds to make a first impression. That's incredible. But then the Ladders did some research and they found that hiring managers, when looking at a stack of resumes, came to a first impression about a candidate in 5 seconds. Now think about that and translate that to the notion that people are making first impressions of us on LinkedIn. So you know that they're not spending very much time to get that first initial feel. So as a marketing communications person, what I know is what is above the fold, it's what they call it. So what is at the top of your screen where you don't have to scroll down. It's a print term, above the fold, but people are still using it. That notion of what you actually can take in under 10 seconds. There are 3 things that I think you can take in well in 10 seconds. So one is your picture. And I just can't stress enough how important it is that we look our absolute best, because when people don't know us, we look exactly like we did on that day at the photographer after the assistant has worked on our makeup. We look fabulous. Unless we didn't go, unless you know, we had our picture taken by a professional photographer while we were at our wedding, and the spouse has the hand on your shoulder and they're cut off. Really, you know, we are not bringing our best selves when we are not using a picture that was intentionally taken as a headshot for our LinkedIn profile. So
okay,
I just
I'm
urge
loving
people.
this. I
Yeah.
gotta stop you. Let me stop you right
Yes.
there,
Yes.
because I just want to reinforce how important that is, because I have seen pictures or no picture on LinkedIn profiles, and I'm wondering what the heck, right? And so we have to think about the fact that it is a competitive space, right? We're
Right.
all vying for attention. We are.
Mhm.
We cannot get past the fact that people are drawn visually, that it's the way we're created. So you might say, but you know what? What I look like is not important and all this other stuff, right? Because people really do say that, don't they, Carol? They
Yes.
say, well, the picture's not important. I mean, look at all my accolades and look at all that I've done.
Yeah.
But people look at the picture before they start to look at what you've done. I mean,
Yes.
unless your picture is just so horrible that they just have to look at what you've done. It's
Yeah.
like, what the heck? What is that? I gotta read that. But otherwise, you do have to put some emphasis on this picture. Thanks so
Yes.
much, Carol. Continue.
Okay. All right. So the next section that you are likely to take in is the person's headline. And that is the little snippet of text. It's actually 220 characters. So it is kind of a lot of characters, but it is what comes right after your name. And usually people go with what is auto-filled by LinkedIn by default, which is your current position and your current company. Now, if you are just delighted to have that as your headline, start there. But give me a colon after your company name and tell me in the rest of the characters you've got available, how do you add value? What is your value proposition? What do you want to be known for? What results do you bring for your clients, your customers? 220 characters actually is a fair amount of text. And so I urge people to spend some time creating that first impression of what you can expect from me when you encounter me. And, you know, knowing that you are a CFO from a bank, well, great, but go beyond that. Tell me how you do CEO work because everybody
Exactly.
comes to their work, even though their title may be the same as the person next to them. They do things in the way that they do them. They bring
That's
their own
right.
values, their own
Yes.
goodness,
Yes.
their own special magic. And so give us some of that in your headline.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And you know what? For the typical 9 to 5 person, they're not really thinking like that, right? So
Right.
for us, we're entrepreneurs and we know that that is, that LinkedIn profile and those 120 characters are very valuable real estate. I mean, we
Mhm.
have these buzzwords among
Yes.
us, but typically people who are at regular jobs, they don't think this way. And so that's why I'm so excited to bring you here because,
Yes.
Carol, we're talking about those things and positioning how to bring visibility to yourself from the
Mhm.
perspective of an entrepreneur, which is what everybody really needs to do because
Yes.
we are, if you're working for a job, you're still the entrepreneur of your own career. You should be the
Right.
CEO of your own career. And the way
Absolutely.
you talk about yourself can make such a big difference. And I love what you said, Carol, when you said, well, if the company and your position is what really feels important to you, start with that, because some people, they have worked their way up the ladder and they've gotten this position that they are so proud of at
Absolutely.
a company that they're really proud of to be a part of, and so that's their what they feel are their boasting rights.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's a catch. And now add a little more. What's your unique selling
Yes.
proposition?
Yes.
What do you bring to the table that's a little different? And it does take work, right, to actually put
Right.
these 120 characters together.
Yes. So there are 220 now. It used to
220.
be 120, but
Mm-hmm.
220. So we've got some characters to work with. There's some other things about that headline that I like to suggest. One is if you don't have a current title that you are enamored with, or the titles in your company are kind of idiosyncratic and people don't know what that means,
Mm-hmm.
you can give yourself a generic title, customer service advocate, or whatever you do within your company. Um,
Mm-hmm.
tell us the action of it, as opposed
Yes.
to using the exact text that the HR people are using, and you get to sign on your business letterhead. Um, so start with the functional title and then do that extra stuff.
I love
Um,
it. Mm-hmm.
so the third thing that our eye will catch in that first 10 minutes is the background of our picture. So our picture is here, and you got this LinkedIn background, which is just so nondescript. Right now, it's in kind of gray greens.
Right.
Um, you can do so much better. So I'm going to give you just 2 places that I look for free images. Absolutely free to use. One of them is called unsplash.com, unsplash.com.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is stocksnap.io. So it's STOCK, no spaces or anything, .io. And those are photo repositories of very high-end images, beautiful, beautiful images that we are free to use. So I like to say, when we're picking a picture that is on brand for us, we let our right brain and our left brain play together.
Yes.
Um, this is exciting. So what is it about me that is special? So I have a client whose area is business continuity and disaster recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Very high stress job,
Mm-hmm.
very high stress.
Mm-hmm.
But he is absolutely the calmest person I know. So the image that we selected for his background image is an absolutely still lake at sunrise. That sense of calm and in control, and
Mhm.
we are wrapping him up in that
Mhm.
image.
Mhm.
Um, there are other people that are fun and colorful, and their background should be
Right.
fun and colorful.
Right.
But think of it, it could even be a place. I have another client who has selected his college or his university campus as an image for background because that was an important place for him. And so whatever it is that makes people go, oh yes, she went to such and such university,
Mhm.
or
Mhm. Mhm.
something that connects you and that picture and those
Mhm.
words. That's what we can capture in our
Right.
first 5, 7, 10 seconds of noticing someone on LinkedIn.
That's right. I love that. It's interesting. Because I work with clients and they're like, oh, I got to get my LinkedIn profile up, and I'm saying, well, we got to put something in that. Don't leave that background blank, right? Because a lot of people do it because they don't know
Oh yeah,
what to put there, so
right.
they leave it blank. But once again, it is real estate, and I will put in the chat. Well, not in the chat. When I repost this, you can
Mhm.
look for the links to Unsplash as well as
Snap,
Snap.
stocksnap.io.
Snap.
Yeah.
Yes, I will definitely put that in there for you. So look for it if you're watching the replay. But do find something that is connected to you, your personality, or something in some way, some point of interest, right? For you.
Yes.
And even as you're talking about this, Carol, I'm thinking, I don't think it'll be long before, people who work at jobs start curating and having created their own images like entrepreneurs do. Like
Mhm.
go and get a custom image created just to kind of indicate and when you talked about that gentleman who works in disaster recovery, which is, you know, I mean, that's amazing, right? And I
Yeah.
guess he would have to be, you want that kind of person
Oh
manning,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
a calm person,
How
zen.
wonderful that that kind of person is a
Mhm.
take control, but
Yeah,
calm. I mean,
yeah.
he is in control. He knows what to do, and he
Hmm.
knows how to give direction in a way that brings people's emotional levels down to a level where they can hear
Can think,
and
hear and
do.
think. Because
You know,
you remember, do you remember Airplane, that old movie Airplane? And they said,
of
get it,
course.
get, get in your crash position. Everybody's like, like all over the place. I mean, and that's exactly what happens to people. They just like, in disaster, they're just all over the place. And you need that person to bring you to calm. So if you could just put a picture, he puts a picture of calm, but the words say disaster recovery, then you can
Mhm.
see this beautiful correlation going on,
Yes,
right? And so
absolutely.
people, for yourselves, think about that. What is your unique selling
Mhm.
proposition? It could be just your personality, right? Just the way you are, your way of being might be the thing that
Mhm.
you bring to the table that other people find valuable. And if you're not sure, what do you do, Carol, if you're not sure about how other people see you or what it is that you bring to the table? What's a good suggestion?
Okay, so ask the people who do business with you, who are friends, both, to give you 5 words or phrases that describe how they experience you. Ask 15 people and see if there are correlations. You can ask some other questions, but the idea of think of some descriptors of how you see the way that I do business. What words come to your mind? And for me, if I were to give you some words, Kim, I would say um, professional, warm, colorful, animated, helpful.
Thank you.
So when we think of colorful and warm, we might give you a background of sunflowers growing in a field. That would be a positive image because of your openness and friendliness and, just right out there. So just think about the words that people give you.
Yes.
And imagine putting some of those words, or actually do put some of those words in the search engines of those
Nice.
beautiful websites and see what comes up.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Yes, a lot of people do not know. When you say, "Oh, branding," I don't know what branding is. How do I brand myself? I don't. It's another marketing term. It's something that we
Yes.
as entrepreneurs we know about branding. And sometimes somebody who works at a regular job, they don't understand what that means to have a personal brand. But I love what you said, Carol. Start with the people around you who know you, because everybody has a brand, whether it's intentional or not. People have branded
Yes.
you in some way.
Yes.
There's some way that people think about you when they hear your name, right? There is a way that people think about you, and most people, the most, there are just a few words that are really, they will run the gamut, whether it's they're talking to your children, your other family members, people at work, some civic organization that you're involved with. There will be certain things that people will say that will just, it'll all be the same. They'll connect, and so then that's you. And
Yeah.
if it's a good thing, because sometimes we get branding that's not so good. but the branding words that you like, that are positive, that you want to speak to your person,
Right.
those are the ones that you're going to take on.
Yes.
And thank you very much for saying that I am warm, because when I was working on my own personal branding, warm was one of the words that I specifically chose,
Yes.
because people would say to me after they got to know me, "Oh, when I first met you, I thought you were so stuck up and you were this and that."
Woo!
And because of that, I said, you know what? I'm going to turn that perception on its head by being intentional about how I
Yes.
want people to feel about me. And I decided to say warm was one of it. Warm and engaging. Those were two of
Yeah.
the words. And just by saying that to myself, it forces me to be a certain way, right?
Absolutely.
If I'm cognizant of it. And so if you can't find branding words that you really feel speak to you, think about how you want people to see you, and just be intentional about that, right?
That's right. That's
That might
right.
be a way to help. That's
Absolutely.
good. That's good. So, any more tips from the book?
Oh,
I love
absolutely.
those three that you gave are awesome-tastic. Just using the space to describe yourself on LinkedIn, very important. Get a good headshot, a professional headshot photo to put up there. Do not get when you were on the beach with your friends and just cut out the little photo and put it up there. And then, of course, use that background image to say something about you and yourself. I mean, it is real estate, people. This is very valuable, when people give you a space on social media to show who you are. It's valuable real estate. So use it the best way you can. Anything
Absolutely.
else that you want to
Yes.
give our people?
Oh, yes. LinkedIn is a search engine. And so, like any search engine, it's looking for your keywords. So, figure out what are the messages you want to deliver? What are the keywords that you want to be found under? And the corollary to that is we need to use the character count for each section as our guideline. So writing about yourself in the about section, I see so many people who have no about section, or they have 2 sentences in the about section, we have 2,600 characters to spend, and that's
Mhm.
5 paragraphs. We can write a
Mhm.
lot about ourselves. We can really reinforce what we want people to remember us for. What is it that we want to be known for?
Yeah.
That should be, right there in our About section. We can absolutely woo our ideal customers or clients right from our About section, right from our
Mhm.
profile,
Mhm.
so that people are warmed up and ready to do business with us.
I love that, and I didn't realize it was so many characters. Oh, I do
Yes.
want to give a shout out to Tarnisha Fowler. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from LA today. Thank you for dropping a comment and letting me know that you are here. And I hope you are enjoying LA. I hope you are enjoying. It's nice and sunny and warm in the Bahamas, and I bet LA is pretty much the same today. So that's good. Yes, that about section is important, and people do
Mhm.
underutilize the about section. Absolutely. I notice sometimes people put their resume, for the most part, in the about section. What are your thoughts on that, Carol?
Okay, so the resume is a stiff document by design. Um, we are trying so hard to get our resume to fit on 2 pages that um, it really doesn't convey anything from our heart. People want to know us. And that's what the About section is about. We want to showcase our principles, our processes, our passions. What is it that we bring to the world of work? And if we're just putting our resume right there in our About section, we've really missed it. So I like to say that our About section is our marketing message. And that's really different than a stiff document. So speak to the people that you want to touch in your business. Speak about what you can do for them, how you serve others. Tell them what it is that is important to you in the way that you serve every day. Those are
Mhm.
the things that are going to make people want to do business with us. And that's so important.
Absolutely. And so if you are at a job, first thing I want to encourage you to do, take this LinkedIn thing seriously and brand yourself outside of your company. If we learned anything from COVID-19, it's that we have to have a personal brand that supersedes where we
Mhm.
currently work. And so I encourage you to do that for yourself. Number one, see yourself as a product of sorts, which is exactly what
Mhm.
Carol is saying.
Right.
She's saying, who's your customer? Well, in this case, who would be your customer? We're entrepreneurs. We know who our customers are. But who would be your customer? Your customer right now is the place that you work. How do you currently
Mhm.
serve in the place that you work? What is your value add at the place that you work? How are you different, in the place that you work? I want you to think about it in that way. And that is how you're going to approach your LinkedIn profile, right? So that you're very
Absolutely.
intentional about the way you're communicating here. And it is real estate. Your next job could actually come from LinkedIn if you learn how to use it properly. And it starts with the profile.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With companies going through lots of thought processes about what business do we want to be in going forward, and what parts of our business will we pump up and what parts of our business will we pull back on. It's important for people internal to your company to know how you want to be seen, how you see yourself, because everybody is accessing your LinkedIn profile to understand who you are. And your next opportunity could come right within your company based on what they see. So make sure it's great.
hmm And Carol just suggested in that about section that you're showing your personality, in a way that a resume never could. That is the
No.
beauty of social media, right? It can help you to
Mhm.
show your personality because a big part of a company hiring you is, do you fit in the culture, right? Seeing your personality is huge when they like your. Now listen, personality is a big seller. Right, Carol? As
Absolutely.
Forbes magazine did a study and it showed that only 15% of your technical skills are determine your success in the world of business. And the other 85% is your communication skills, your ability
Oh,
to lead
yes.
others, and your personality.
Hey, hey.
So, and so your personality is a unique selling proposition. Come as you are. You don't have to try to be like anybody else. There is a place for everybody. Believe me, there absolutely is. But use your about section so that people can get a feel for what
Yeah.
you're like, right? Because when it comes down to it, it's really all about people, right? We're all working together with people. Can I work with this person? I have seen so many HR managers, directors. We talk, I work with a lot of different companies, and they always talk about how, listen, we will hire the person who lacks the technical skills, but has the right personality. Because we could teach them the technical skills. But if they're easy to work with and, they might lack some skills, we'll bring them up on the skill part. But
Yeah.
it's the people part that we can't change. That's the problem. So put your personality in there because your personality certainly sells.
It does.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Carol. You did such a fantastic job. Your book sounds super interesting. I have not gotten my own copy yet. I must do that because that book sounds amazing. I mean, it sounds like a step by step guide that you can use to get yourself out there in the right way. When people look at you, and they're looking, you might think they're
And they
not, but
are.
they're looking. That we use LinkedIn for a reason. They are looking. So put yourself out there in the right way. So get a copy of her book. I will have that link in the repost for you. If you happen to watch this as a replay, I would love if you would put replay in the chat so that I would just kind of have an idea of who's watching the replay, or how many people are watching the replay. And I invite you to come back again next week. I'm here every Thursday, 12 noon. Next week, I am going to have a coach on who, she really excelled in the corporate world and found herself very unhappy. And she now coaches people who are in corporate who want to have joy at work, right? Joy in their career. So if that's you, make sure you join us. If you know somebody like that, share this. Let them know. We'll be back next week, 12 noon, for Lunch and Learn to Advance Your Career. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Carol. And I will see you all next week.